If your teen is having seizure-like episodes, you might be wondering, well, is this epilepsy or could this be functional neurological disorder or FND? Or maybe you have given a diagnosis of FND or something rather called PNES, which stands for psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, which is again kind of old term, but still commonly and widely used for someone who does look like having a seizure episode, but does not have epilepsy. So in this video, we're going to break down the differences between epilepsy, FND, and PNES so you can understand what's really happening in your teen's brain and body. By the end of this video, you're gonna know what to look for and why getting the right diagnosis matters so much. So let's dive in. You know, many families come to see me asking the same question over and over again. Is this epilepsy or is this something else? We were given this diagnosis of FND, but we have no idea what it is. Seizure-like episodes can look incredibly similar on the outside, especially if you're not a medical provider who is specialized in epilepsy or FND. So these might look like shaking, collapsing, staring, or loss of awareness. But even though they can look the same, causes underneath are very, very different. And this confusion is exactly why so many families feel stuck without clear answers or any information out there. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a Pediatric Health Psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, which is an online coaching program that helps teens with FND and their parents, just like you, get their lives back. My mission is to help create a world where FND is no longer misunderstood like a mysterious disease and where families understand that FND is real and you can get better. So let's start by talking about what epilepsy is. Epilepsy is caused by this abnormal electrical activity in the brain, and I'm making it super simple. These electrical changes can usually be detected on EEG testing, especially when captured during an episode. And sometimes the epilepsy cannot be shown on EEG. That's why usually detected. Because epilepsy is an electrical thing and phenomenon, it often responds to seizure medications that help stabilize that brain activities. It may not be the case for all of the seizures, but that is generally the gold standard treatment. Now, understanding this helps families see why certain treatments are effective for epilepsy and why they make sense for that diagnosis. Let's talk about what FND is, and that includes PNES because PNES is a type of FND. Now, functional neurological disorder is not an electrical problem, and it is not structural damage to the brain either. It is a brain-body communication problem. This is why FND episodes can look so much like seizures and yet behave completely different underneath. Some say FND is a software problem because it's a functional problem, not a structural problem. If it's a structural problem, then it is a hardware problem, like a brain tumor, for example. Now, related to that, another analogy that helps many families understand this phenomenon of FND is a fire alarm analogy. So think of these episodes of non-epileptic seizures or any other FND symptoms actually as a fire alarm going off. The alarm is super loud, disruptive, and scary, if not terrifying, and it gets everyone's attention like you and I. But the alarm itself is not the fire, and we know that. In epilepsy, there is an electrical, quote-unquote, fire in the brain that the alarm is responding to. And yet in FND, the alarm system is overly sensitive and goes off even when there is no fire. The alarm is real, to be clear, and the experience is real, to be clear, but the cause is very different between epilepsy and non-epileptic seizures or FND. And this is why epilepsy and FND are so often confusing. Once you understand the differences, the next step is learning how these episodes actually behave over time, instead of you running to 20 other doctors to get the 30 different opinions about what's happening with your child's brain and body. There are several ways FND episodes tend to differ from epileptic seizures. Again, it's not exhaustive list, but generally speaking, in FND, EEG testing is normally normal during an episode. So no matter how many times that your child is having these episodes, like 100, 200, 300 times, and then you keep pressing the button every time there's an episode to indicate to the EEG, yep, my child is having an episode right now, they all look normal, right? Episodes may vary based on so many things like stress, attention, or something that's happening, or nothing at all sometimes. Maybe your child is sitting on the couch watching TV, laughing, ha ha ha, and then suddenly there's an episode. And recovery can also look very different. Teens may become alert quickly, talk during or after the episode, or completely aware, or show strong emotional reactions. And maybe your child is having, with FND seizures, feeling like off, and then having this numbness and tingling, and then having this weakness, and then can tell that something is not right and losing the power and having into this seizure quote unquote episode. And then right after that, they feel very exhausted or don't remember anything at all, or having these hallucinations and things like that, changing the behavior like they're a toddler, for example. Noticing these patterns does not mean the episodes are not real. It means the alarm system is responding to this perceived danger rather than electrical disruption in their brain. And once you see these patterns, you know what questions to bring to your medical team, or rather your child's medical team. The Family Guy shares a handful of practical strategies to help you get out of this survival mode, and it shows why our structured approach gets such a strong result. Grab it from the description below. It is free. FND is often missed for a few key reasons. This is really unfortunate thing, and this is my mission to change that, right? Sometimes doctors stop at, it's not epilepsy. That's it, without going any further. And families may be told, it could be just psychological, but stress or anxiety, go see a therapist, without any clear explanation of what that means or what to do next. Or go see CBT specialists like cognitive behavior therapists without any explanation or what that means. Without education, families are left feeling dismissed or blamed instead of supported. And maybe this is how you found my channel. This is why knowing the right questions to ask really can make a huge difference for you and your child. I'm all about being practical. So when you're talking to your doctor, bringing maybe video clips of episode can be helpful. And you can ask this, hey, could this be a FND? I just read this video. And then you're more than welcome to share this video or my channel with the providers. And then ask them to educate you about FND in a way that you understand. It is not about, I don't know what it is, so I just need to Google it. That's not enough, because you need to understand that too, right? So you have a right to ask, hey, I need to know a little bit more about this. You can also ask, could you explain this to me in a way that I understand? So you can also repeat back or summarize or talk about what you understood. So then you and the doctor are on the same page as much as possible. Tracking patterns such as what triggers episode, how long they last, and how your teen recovers afterwards give doctors valuable information to get to the diagnosis. And this moves families from uncertainty towards a little bit more clarity. And then clarity is what opens the door to appropriate care. But again, just so you know, tracking patterns may be helpful to get the diagnosis. But once the diagnosis is given and determined, and this is it, tracking patterns do not help your teen gets better. And I have tons and tons of videos about why that's the case on my channel. But getting back to the video, getting the right diagnosis matters because epilepsy and FND require very different treatments. Epilepsy is treated by addressing a normal electrical activity, often with medication, as I mentioned. But FND requires brain-body retraining, skill building, and helping the brain and body system learn safety again through that retraining and skill building. So when the diagnosis is clear, your teen can get the support and guidance that actually matches what's happening in their brain and the body in the right way. Now, the question is, can someone have both epilepsy and non-epileptic seizures? The answer is yes. It's not 100%, but it's a good chunk of people who can have both at the same time. However, this is why you need to have a clear understanding of what is what so you can get the support that actually matches what's happening in their brain and the body. I want to be very clear about something important here. FND is real. The episodes are real. Your teen is not faking, exaggerating, or doing things on purpose. Their brain is sending the wrong signals and their body is responding exactly as it's been told to, and then the vice versa. If this resonates with you, leave a comment below because you're not alone in navigating this, and no more DIY for your child's health and life. If you want to see how my full program of Teen FND Academy works and how it's helping families resolve FND for real, then watch the video linked in the description box below. Now that you understand the difference between epilepsy and FND, many parents start asking another important question. Could past stress or trauma be contributing to these episodes? Well, guess what? I have made just that video where I explain how trauma can play a role in FND and what most doctors do not take the time to explain to families. And I linked that video right here. So watch that next to connect the dots and better understand the big picture. The video might actually surprise you.